The FI-10 Most Wanted list has had terrorists on it. It has had murderers. It has had fugitives who spent decades hiding from law enforcement across multiple continents. In March 2025, the FI added a new name. Akil Davis stood at a podium in Los Angeles and said the words out loud. He said, Ryan Wedding went from shredding powder on the slopes at the Olympics to distributing powder cocaine on the streets of American cities and in his native Canada. The room went quiet, because nobody in that room had seen that sentence coming when they thought about the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. Going back to the beginning, Ryan Wedding was born in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada on September 14, 1981. He grew up in the cold. He learned to snowboard the way athletes in small Canadian towns learn their sport. Early mornings, long hours, a discipline that most people cannot maintain and most athletes cannot sustain. It worked. By 2002, Wedding was good enough to represent Canada at the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah. He competed in the men's parallel giant slalom. He finished 24th. He did not win a medal. He did not make the podium. He went home to Canada as a man who had reached the Olympics and finished in the middle of the field. Most athletes in that position look for what comes next. Another competition, a coaching career, a life built around the sport that had defined them. Wedding looked for something else entirely. The first documented step came years later. In 2009, the FBI arrested Wedding and two associates at a hotel in San Diego, California. Investigators found $100,000 in cash in their hotel room. The operation had been a sting. FBI agents had set up a cocaine deal and waited. Wedding had walked straight into it. His two co-defendants pleaded guilty immediately. Wedding took the case to trial. He lost. A jury found him guilty in November 2009. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison in 2010. At his sentencing hearing, Wedding stood before the judge and spoke about his sports background. He talked about discipline, about dedication, about what it meant to represent his country. The judge sentenced him anyway. And that is where most stories like this end. A former athlete, a drug conviction, a prison sentence, a cautionary tale. But for Ryan, Wedding, prison was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of the next chapter. What happened after Wedding was released from prison is the part that made the FBI compare him to Pablo Escobar. Wedding did not step away from the drug trade. He went deeper into it. He built a transnational cocaine trafficking network that operated across Colombia, Mexico, Southern California, and Canada simultaneously. He called himself El Jefe, the boss. He also used the aliases Giant, Public Enemy, James Conrad King, and Jesse King. His operation did not move kilograms of cocaine. It moved tons. 60 metric tons of cocaine per year, according to the United States Attorney General Pam Bondi, who stood at a press conference and said those words on the record. 60 metric tons, every year. The US Attorney General said Wedding was the largest distributor of cocaine in Canada. She said his operation generated more than $1 billion a year in illegal drug proceeds. $1 billion a year. The Treasury Department sanctioned Wedding and seized his assets. Among them was a rare 2002 Mercedes Giugiaro Roadster valued at $13 million, one of only 6 cars of that type ever built in the world. The FBI named the operation to catch him Operation Giant Slalom, a reference to the Olympic event he had competed in 23 years earlier. But Wedding was not just moving drugs, he was ordering murders. In January 2025, a federal witness in the case against Wedding was shot and killed in Colombia. The FBI alleged that Wedding had placed a bounty of $5 million on that witness after his own attorney allegedly advised him that if the witness were dead, the federal charges against him would necessarily be dismissed. The State Department offered $2 million for information, leading to the arrest of the assassins. The FI raised the reward for Wedding himself to $15 million, and in March 2025, they added his name to the 10 most wanted fugitives list. The 533rd person ever added to that list in its entire history. The FBI assistant director said Wedding was a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar. The US Attorney General said his criminal enterprise was one of the most prolific and violent drug trafficking organizations in the world. And all of it had been built by a man who has stood at the starting gate of an Olympic snowboarding event in Salt Lake City in 2002 and raced down a mountain. Wedding was arrested on January 22, 26. He and 2 associates had traveled from Canada to San Diego to complete a drug deal. The FBI was waiting. Agents arrested all 3 after the deal was completed. Wedding was flown to Ontario, California in custody. Photographs showed him in handcuffs stepping off a plane. He pleaded not guilty to 17 charges, including conspiracy to distribute cocaine, continuing criminal enterprise, murder in connection with a continuing criminal enterprise, and attempted murder. If convicted, he faces a mandatory minimum sentence of life in federal prison. The FBI assistant director says something at the press conference after the arrest that stayed in the room. He said Ryan Wedding's athletic drive snowballed into a life of violence. He said that instead of conquering mountains, Wedding mastered a deadly drug distribution enterprise and ordered murders while enjoying protection from cartel associates. Athletic drive. The same quality that got a boy from Thunder Bay to the Winter Olympics in 2002. The same discipline, the same ability to focus on a goal and pursue it regardless of the cost. The same drive, just pointed in a completely different direction. That is the moment that changed everything for Ryan Wedding. Not the day he got arrested in 2009. Not the day he was sentenced. Not even the day he decided to go back to trafficking after prison. The moment that changed everything was the moment he decided that the discipline sport had built inside him was worth more in the dark than it ever was in the light. And for 20 years, nobody saw it coming. Until the FBI did.